If you're thinking about selling your house and you want to sell it fast, there's something you need to understand before you put a "for sale" sign in the yard. Selling a home quickly isn't just about finding a buyer. It's about making the home easy to buy, getting it in front of the right buyers, knowing how much money you're willing to leave on the table for speed, avoiding unnecessary repair costs, and making sure you don't create a legal problem for yourself. And some of the biggest mistakes homeowners make happen before the first buyer ever walks through the door. So today, I'm going to give you 5 things every homeowner should understand if the goal is to sell a house quickly. And number 3 may be the most important one because you have to decide what matters more to you: speed or maximum profit. Let's get into it. The first thing you need to do is simple: clean up the house. And I'm not talking about just running a vacuum through the living room. I'm talking about removing clutter, cleaning the kitchen, cleaning the bathrooms, cleaning floors and windows, taking care of odors, organizing closets, cleaning the garage, and making sure the outside of the house looks cared for too. Why? Because buyers aren't just looking at your house. They're trying to imagine their life in your house. A crowded room can make a perfectly good room look small. A dirty kitchen can make buyers wonder what else hasn't been maintained. And an overgrown yard can make someone start thinking about all the other maintenance problems they might inherit. You don't necessarily need to remodel the entire house. In fact, that's where some homeowners make another mistake. They spend money upgrading things that buyers may not value enough to justify the expense. Instead, start with the basics: clean it, declutter it, depersonalize it, fix the obvious little problems, improve the curb appeal, make the home look like a product that is ready to be purchased. Remember, you are not selling the memories you have in the house. You're selling the buyer's. The second mistake is assuming that your personal network is enough to sell your house. You might think, my cousin knows somebody. My coworkers will tell people. I'll put it on Facebook. And there's nothing wrong with using your personal network. But your personal network is not a marketing strategy. You need to get the property in front of people who are actually looking to buy a home like yours. That's where targeted marketing becomes important. Think about it. If you're selling a 3-bedroom home in a particular neighborhood, at a particular price, you're not looking for everybody. You're looking for the right somebody. Someone who wants that neighborhood. Someone who can afford the price. Someone who wants that type of property. Someone who is actually in a position to buy. That's why an experienced real estate professional can bring value beyond simply putting a sign in the yard. And if you're selling the property yourself, you still need to think like a marketer. Your photos matter. Your description matters. Your pricing matters. Your online exposure matters. And your ability to respond quickly to interested buyers matters. Your family and friends can help spread the word. But don't confuse people who know you with people who are qualified. And now here's the conversation most homeowners don't want to have. How fast do you actually need to sell? Because speed has a price. If you need to sell immediately, you may have to accept a lower offer than you would if you were willing to wait for the perfect buyer. That's not necessarily a bad thing. It just needs to be a conscious decision. Think of it this way: if you want maximum profit, you're usually going to have to be more patient. You may need better preparation, better marketing, more showings, more negotiations, and potentially more time on the market. If you want speed, you may have to make your price more attractive. The key is knowing your bottom line before the negotiation starts. And if you're trying to sell without an agent, you may be able to save certain commission costs, but don't assume that means the entire transaction is free. There can still be closing costs, title expenses, taxes, legal costs, buyer agent considerations, and other transaction expenses depending on the situation. And here's another important point: if speed is your goal, don't automatically assume that a wholesaler or investor is your only option. Get multiple perspectives. Look at your local market. Understand what comparable homes are selling for. Consider whether your property would appeal to first-time buyers, owner-occupants, or buyers looking for a particular type of home. The point is not to automatically reject investors. The point is, don't accept the first low offer simply because you're in a hurry. Know what your property is worth. Know what you need. Number 4 is where homeowners can lose a lot of money. Before you start making repairs, ask yourself one question. Will this repair actually help me sell the house, or am I just making the house nicer? Those aren't always the same thing. If you're extremely handy, have the right skills, or have access to reliable contractors at reasonable prices, you may have a significant advantage. You might be able to fix cosmetic problems yourself. You might be able to improve the appearance of the property without spending a fortune. But if you're hiring someone for every little project, the math can change very quickly. Let's say you spend $15,000 upgrading a kitchen. That doesn't automatically mean the buyer is going to pay you $15,000 more. Maybe the upgrade helps. Maybe it makes the home easier to sell. Maybe it gets you more offers. But you need to think about the return on that investment. And don't fall into the trap of believing that the most expensive contractor is automatically the best choice for your situation. High-end professionals can absolutely provide tremendous value. But if your goal is to sell the house quickly, you need to know what level of work the property actually requires. You don't need to turn a starter home into a luxury home just because you're trying to make it attractive. Focus on repairs that affect safety, function, appearance, and buyer confidence. Fix the leaking faucet, repair obvious damage, address major maintenance issues, clean the property, improve the presentation, and then stop and look at the numbers. The goal isn't to create the most beautiful house possible. And finally, number 5. Know the rules. This is the part that can turn a simple home sale into a very expensive problem. Every state and local jurisdiction can have different requirements surrounding real estate transactions. There can be rules involving disclosures, contracts, advertising, taxes, title, inspections, lead-based paint, and other parts of the transaction. For example, in Michigan, residential sellers can have specific seller disclosure obligations, and homes built before 1978 can involve additional federal lead paint disclosure requirements. NOLO, and here's the important part, as is, does not simply mean, I don't have to tell the buyer anything. You need to understand what you're legally required to disclose and what paperwork is required where you live. Don't guess. Don't copy a random contract you found online and assume it's sufficient. And don't wait until closing to discover that you were supposed to provide an important document weeks earlier. If you're selling your home yourself, consider getting guidance from the appropriate professionals, such as a real estate attorney, title company, or qualified real estate professional familiar with your local laws. A little money spent. So let's bring all 5 together. If you want to sell your home quickly, number 1, clean it up. Make the house easy for buyers to imagine themselves living in. Number 2, market it to the right audience. Your friends and family are helpful, but they aren't your entire buyer pool. Number 3, decide whether speed or maximum profit is your priority. You can pursue both, but you need to understand that the faster you demand the sale, the more likely you are to make concessions on price, terms, or preparation. Number 4. Be smart about repairs. Don't spend money simply because you think every upgrade automatically increases your sale price. And number 5. Know the laws. Because making a fast sale isn't worth much if you create a legal or financial problem afterward. If you're a homeowner thinking about selling, take a minute before you list the property and ask yourself, am I actually prepared to sell, or am I just ready to put a sign in the yard? There's a big difference. And if you found this helpful, subscribe because we're going to keep breaking down the real-world decisions homeowners need to make when they're trying to sell their property. The goal isn't just to sell your house. It's to sell it on terms that actually make sense for you.